How's it going, everybody? This is Travis Hartman. This is another special segment called In This Corner. We do with Weighing In with Travis Hartman. We have had some blockbuster guests, as I've always talked about. We have Terrence Crawford on the show. We've had Mike Perry on the show. And also, we had your opponent that you just fought on the show last week, and that is Tony Aguilar. And that is why you're here now, Mr. Corey Marksman. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome the undefeated Corey Marksman.
What's up, everybody?
So, brother, this was a very interesting fight because this was a rematch. But if we go back even further, while I was talking to Tony, you guys fought twice in the amateurs. He said that he won both of those fights. You guys fought once as a pro before this last one. You got a draw, a contested draw. And like I told Tony on the show, I said, Tony, he asked me, he's like, who you thought won, Trav? The first one was a 6-rounder. I thought you round four rounds to 2 in the first one over here at Crib Royale. They called it a draw. I'm not a judge. Nothing that I say is official, but I have been around the sport quite a while. So fast forward, you fought by far on the biggest stage of your professional career. You fought on the Jake Paul versus Mike Perry undercard on DAZN pay-per-view over in Tampa at the Amalie Arena. How are you feeling today, brother?
I'm sore as hell, bro. I tell you that.
8 rounds, man.
Yeah, bro. It didn't hit me yesterday. It all hit me today. But, bro, I'm feeling good. You know, it was a good fight. It was a real good win. I don't agree with the first scorecard. I don't see how it was a
76,
draw.
76.
No, the draw. Oh yeah. So I don't know what the hell they were looking at, but still a win is a win. I'm not upset about it.
Exactly.
It was just it's like, damn, there's a lot of people in here, bro. Like, I remember looking up, like, holy shit, like there are a lot of human beings in this one place right now.
Yeah, cool, and though. Like you were saying, the scorecards were 76, 76, 77, 75, and 78, 74. And I didn't say at the beginning, but Corey won the rematch by a majority decision. But again, so how did you feel there, though, as opposed to the very first pro fight that you guys fought? Did you feel any different in this second one, or what happened in that ring that catapulted you to the ultimate victory?
It was all due to a good camp, bro. Like we were traveling all over. We were up in Philly, we were in Atlanta, Miami. So I mean, we were getting a bunch of different looks, but really it was that Philly sparring. Like they real hard nosed, down and dirty with it. So it was really just preparing me for the atmosphere and what I was going to see, because they were giving me way more pressure than Benny was going to give me. So I know if I can handle that, I can handle Tony for sure. But
yeah, and Tony is kind of a pressure fighter, and that's, I think, early on he kind of did that in the rematch over there at Tampa. I think he pressured you a little bit, but I feel like you adjusted pretty good. And you think that's because of the sparring you got?
Yeah, and plus I knew he hasn't changed since the amateurs, and even since the last fight, I knew I just had to step on the gas a little bit more, because at some points I had him hurt in the first fight, in the first pro fight. I had him hurt a couple times, but I don't know why I just let him live. And then last Saturday I had him hurt, and even though I didn't take him out, I was still on him the whole time. So it was just minor adjustments. He was trying to come forward with his head a lot, so I was really trying to not get cut in my face or anything. So I was tying up and I was trying to use my head. I was just trying to make it rough and ugly with him, because he was trying to make it rough and ugly with me.
Yeah, but you know what? I think you had your most success when you were controlling your distance and spacing, and you were counterpunching very well. Every time I watched it, you gave a couple different nice little shifts, almost a Lomachenko-like shifts after you were punching. And I think when you're fighting a fighter like Tony, who does rely more on pressure than a lot of stuff, because he's tough. He's very tough. That was a good win from a very good fighter at 12-0. He was 12-0 and one draw against you. You were 9-0 and 1, I believe, going in. Now you're 10-0, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So this guy's coming to bring it like he did the first fight. There should have been not many secrets. I thought in the long run, the longer the rounds, maybe that would benefit Tony. And Tony said he was doing the same as you. He was over in Vegas. He'd been training his butt off. He'd been sparring with a bunch of guys, and he was just, my pressure style, and we're going 8 rounds now. He's like, I think that's going to benefit him more. But obviously it didn't, and you guys maybe knew that was going to happen, and that's probably why you got that good sparring up in Philly. And those Philly guys, man, hey, I've been around a little bit too, and those Philly guys don't mess around.
Nah, for real, bro. And I was over there at Boze's gym, and I was sparring in front of boots and everything. So, bro, all that just added on top of me. I was like, bro, if I'm out here sparring in front of world champions, bro, I gotta go out there and show out for real, you know?
So for everybody that doesn't know, he's talking about Jerron Boots Ennis, who is the #1 welterweight in the world right now, rated #1 welterweight. I think, no, actually he's a world champion too. I think he got
Yeah, he
upgraded, so
IBF.
world champion. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he got upgraded after Terrence Crawford vacated that. So now the next story is, Boots trying to fight Crawford. But anyway, you're there in front of Boots Ennis. So like you're definitely trying to show out a little bit, not even just for your fight coming up, but you're like, I want to show these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And I didn't plan on him being there in the gym when we went. And so we walked in, he's in the ring working, and I'm like, is that Boots, bro? Like, what's going on? You know, it was definitely a cool experience. You know, they was hospitable for sure, and they welcomed us back and everything. And so I mean, it was real good. It was real good.
So what choice or whose choice was it? I know that your father trained you, correct?
Yeah.
So whose choice was it to finally go out and start sparring in different states and getting different looks like that? Was it his choice after the very first fight with Tony Aguilar? What made you guys do that?
So like we travel for sparring anyway, whether it be going down south to Centeno's gym, or we'll just go up to Atlanta, But the way that my dad likes to train me is the more looks that I get, the sharper I am, because it goes all the way back to the amateurs. When you fight in amateurs, you weigh in the same day, and then you match up the same day, so you don't know who you're facing. So we kind of just stuck with that. The more looks you get, the better you're gonna perform. And so if we can get quality sparring during camp as a professional, I'm just gonna show out on fight day. So I went up to Philly before when I was training for my fourth fight, I believe, and it was real good work up there. We were sparring with Sam T, rest in peace. And
Yeah.
yeah, man. So we always try to travel, get different looks and stuff like that, because that's when I'm at my best for sure.
So now you are 1-0-1 against Tony Aguilar. He holds 2 victories over you in the amateurs. Would you be willing to give him another shot? Or what's your future plans? I guess we can lead into that too. If he's not next, what are you guys looking at next?
I mean, I would give him a shot if it was necessary. I don't feel like it was necessary. I just think I had to just go get my W from February, because I feel like I won the one in February as well. I was just kind of avenging that. So in my head, I'm 2-0 over him. But on paper it's 1-0 and 1, like you said. But as far as next goes, just whatever my team says. I'm kind of just taking a break because I've been going since January. Just, my body just needs to rest. We fought in February, then I did Combat League for a little bit, and I fought last month, and then jumped straight into the other camp for this one. So I just been going, and like it's one thing to stay in shape, but it's another thing to just be training for a fight nonstop. The training is always getting harder and harder, so my body just needs a little rest. Probably come back in there like October, November, and then maybe again December, close the year out. It'd be a good year for me.
Yeah, man. I think what people don't realize sometimes when pros are training and fighting, they see them fighting a couple, 3, 4 times a year. But what they don't realize is the fights are really the dessert, essentially, right? Like you're sore right now, but you'll heal pretty quick. When you're in training camp for a long amount of time, you don't get a chance to really stop and rest and let your body heal. You're breaking your body down for months at a time. And that's what people don't realize. Yeah, the fight does take it out of us, but you heal from that fight pretty quick. You don't have time to heal when you're in training camp. You might
Not
be
at all.
able to take a day off here and there, maybe, but for the most part, you don't get a chance to heal. So what they don't see is all those hours that you're putting in the gym leading up to every one of these fights. And what you've probably noticed now, early in your pro career, you're 10-0-1, is that a lot of the times you'll train your butt off for a fight, then maybe a guy falls out before and you don't even get a fight, or something like that happens. I know that happened a lot when I was coming up as well. So like that happens a lot. And when that happens, it's like you just had like a six-week training camp and then no fight. So then you got to go back and relax for like a week, maybe, or even a couple of days. Then you're back at it because you were going to try to fight as soon as you can. So that's the
Literally.
tough part about it.
Yeah,
So
that's always the worst, bro. Like when you're really busting your ass, you got your mind set on the day, and the day just falls through, and it's like, damn, like bro, I'm tired now, bro.
yeah, I don't think
But
people realize that either. And Tony Aguilar, your opponent that you just fought last Saturday, he kind of brought it up too. He was like, what people don't know is he's like, man, I had a full-time job the first time I fought Corey. And all the fights before that, he's like, I had a full-time job where I was working 10 hours a day and then going and training. And he was like, this time though, before you, he's like, there's no excuses. He's like, I had my full-time job right now is professional boxing, which I think is pretty cool. But that's something that
yeah,
most people don't realize though, is that a lot of guys coming up, they're working jobs before their professional career is a secondary, essentially, right? It's
yeah, for
primary in
sure.
your mind because obviously you're showing out, but it's secondary because you got to pay bills, you got to do what you got to do. But do you think something like this fight that you just had here is going to help propel you into the bigger scenes and get you on those bigger cards on more of a consistent basis? Like I said, you were just on the biggest card of your career. Jake Paul versus Mike Perry, pay-per-view, millions saw that, 15, 20,000 was there live. It was a sellout. I forget what the official number was, but I think the arena holds under 20,000. So, and I was there. I was, 8 rows
Right.
back from the ring. So that place was sold out. It wasn't just a sold out. It
No,
was sold out.
it was packed, sold out for real.
How'd you feel? So, how is that walk to the ring? And they walk you kind of right through the crowd essentially too, with both sides there. How
Yeah.
was that for you in your mental state, walking into that ring? What was going through your head on that walk on that big of a stadium?
So like all the people and the lights and stuff, that don't never phase me because if you want to be a star, you can't be scared to be in the light. But
Exactly.
as I'm looking out and I'm seeing all these people, I'm like, oh wow, these people really really showed out. But where's my mother at? I was trying to locate my mom. Because no matter the stage or whatever where I'm at, I try to find my mom and then everybody else just kind of fills in. So if I didn't find her, I didn't really notice anybody else. So I'm just like, we just got to show out
So did you
regardless.
find her?
At the end, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, she ended up coming to the back, but I never found her. That's why, it never really like clicked, I guess, to see how many people was in there until after when I went up to one of the suites and I was looking out, like, man, like I just did that in front of all these people for real, bro. And in the first round, you remember when they was chanting my name? Like I've never
yeah.
had 15,000 people say my name at once, bro. Like it was almost surreal, like it didn't hit me in that moment until I got to the locker room and I was sitting there and I was like, man, like I had to change my life for real.
Is that, and that's, I was going to bring that up that I was actually, I'm not going to say I was shocked because I don't want to disrespect you like that, but I was actually a little surprised when I heard the crowd chant Corey. I was like, looking at, because
Yeah,
I'm
it was
like dead
him.
middle. I'm like dead middle and I see everything. I'm like looking around. I'm like, good for him. Like, and
Yeah, bro.
I'm always happy when people do good. I am, even though, I mean, I have respect for Tony as well. Tony Aguilar. He seems like a respectable guy. He didn't talk any smack on the podcast when he was talking about you at all. He's like, we fought before we know each other. He's like, there's no smack to be talked. He's like, it'd be kind of corny if I did. And he's right. It was cool. He's a cool dude. So when I say I was happy for you to win, I'm just happy to see a guy in a sport that I know personally is difficult to succeed at. And
Yeah.
you're doing it right now. So like I was happy to see that. Now leading up to that, in the ring, I know that when I fought, I never for sure ever really knew if I was going to win or not. Not sometimes I knew, but when you're sitting there and they're announcing that decision and you heard that 76-76, because they said that card first. What was going through your mind, man, when they're reading that scorecard? Like, did you in your mind be like, oh my gosh, am I going to get another draw? Or what's going through Corey Marksman's mind in that split 5-10 seconds?
So in that moment, it all flashed back to the amateurs when like the very very first fight that we had. So I'm thinking, I got the dub, I did enough, and then I hear the draw, and I'm like, draw what? But then I snap back again, like, nah, bro, I definitely did enough. And then I hear the rest of the scorecards, and I'm like, okay, there's no way that they have this man up on these rounds by this many points. So it wasn't. It was like a split second of, oh no, I didn't do enough, but it went away quickly. I definitely was out there working for sure. I felt better about this one like right after the fight than I did in February. So there was no doubt in my mind after I heard the first scorecard. I was like, man, they just trying to make it seem competitive. I guess he's the A side. They don't want to make it seem like unanimous or whatever. But a win is a win in my book.
I mean, 100%. You're 10-0 now. So that's all that nobody's going to go back and look at that. They're going to go back and look, oh, he beat this guy. So let's move on. We're going to the next one. So I know
Yeah,
I asked you this, but you're going to take a rest. But I know are you signed with Undisputed Promotions with Arvelo?
yeah.
Is that your promoter? Okay. So does he have any plans? Has he kind of mentioned anything to you? Or is it just like, you know what? Let's let Corey rest. Let's let him chill. We don't know what's next.
Yeah, it's more of let's just get my body back right, and then we'll just go from there. Because I'm in a good place right now. I had a pretty active year already. I'm still young. I'm only 23, and I just had a big fight, big win. So there's no need to rush anything right now.
So also you fought at 134, right? It's 135. Do you think you're comfortable there? Are you going to stay there? Did you make that weight okay? So is that kind of a weight class that you kind of want to really campaign with to get possibly in like the top 15 rankings in the world in one of the major sanctioning bodies? Or what's your thoughts with that? Was it pretty easy
Yeah,
to make?
yeah, yeah. 35 is good for me, and not to say like I'm getting older, but I definitely feel it's not getting harder, but it's not as easy to make 135 as when I was 18.
Of
But
course.
it's still it's still. I mean, it was a good weight cut. I made 134.2. I'm gonna make the weight regardless of what the weight is. But eventually, probably in like 2 years or so, I might go to 140. Then the most I'll probably go to maybe is 147. But I'm not even a big 135er. So
Yeah.
we'll see. It just all depends on what my body's giving me. But as of right now, 135 is it. I can make it, and I feel strong at 135. And yeah, just keep it going. Why not?
So I know that you guys, I see it on social media that you guys have your boxing gym now, and is it in Sanford or where is it at? Because I'm going to give you a chance here to kind of plug that. Like, so your guys' everyday stuff is you and your dad. Your dad trains you, which is awesome. I've had many father-son duos on the show who training them, like Giovanni Marquez, Raul Marquez, former world champion, trains him. I've had Giovanni Estella on here. His dad trains him. There's a lot of
Yeah.
guys that I've had under their dads train them. So how is that relationship with you two?
Man, my pops is like my best friend. He called me every day, telling me about nothing sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just opened up a gym. It's right off of Sanford Ave. It's called Marksman Boxing Academy, and it's coming along, man. We got bags up, we got mirrors up, TVs. We just got the banner up. We just waiting on the ring to get there, but we got the flooring. We're pretty much open, man. We got class every day at 10, and then in the evening again at 7. We about to start picking up the kids' classes now because my dad don't want to train the kids, and I'm there, so I might as well.
Yeah.
I'll probably be at like 6, but it's definitely coming along. It's been a long time coming too. We've been everybody's been telling us, you got to get your own gym, you gotta do this, you gotta do that, and shit, it's finally here now. It's cool for sure having your own gym.
Yeah. So is that something that is that what you do on your off time from boxing then? And I say from boxing, that's still boxing, but when you're not training for yourself, are you working there at the gym or what is it that you're doing right now?
Yeah, for the most part, I'm just working at the gym, doing my clients and stuff. Boxing is pretty much my full time job. I haven't had like a job in like 2 years now. I just dedicated to the process, and it's paying off now. Shit.
I mean, it is, man. Like I said, you looked really sharp and on point. Like your movement looked on point, your distance control looked on point. Your movements, you were just giving him different angles. It all looked really good, man. I was happy to see that, and it's just happy to see because I've seen you at some of these local shows fighting as well. And I don't want to say that you've made massive progress because you've looked really good every time I've seen you. So I don't know that you're making massive progress in that regard of different fight. You've just like you're fine tuning what was already there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So like,
yeah,
and
for
that's
sure.
why I'm not trying to. Some guys I see massive like differences, but like I haven't seen a massive difference from you, other than the fact that you've got on the big stage now and you still performed at that level. So to me,
Yeah,
that's the important thing because a lot of people are. I don't know if you've noticed it, but all the years I was growing up in gyms, we used to have what I called the gym fighter. And the guy was like, I mean, he would light up like national champions in the gym. And then for whatever reason, he'd go out and just like look flat, fall on his face every time he fought a big fight. And this is talking about the amateurs. And I just never understood that. I was just like a gym fighter and he'd go out there and not do anything. But for you, when you stepped under the bright lights, you still performed. I didn't see any jitters. And I'm sure you were nervous, but it didn't really show once you got in there and you got settled. So I mean, that's a confidence builder that I hope other promoters down the road see with you is like, listen, even though this was against Tony Aguilar, a rematch, a guy he was comfortable with, essentially, because you fought him quite a bit. But I think they see that you're comfortable on the big stage and that you will come and you perform. And you're a character, bro. You add to the charisma of fighting because I think it genuinely looks like you love what you're doing. Do you
yeah,
love being in that
for sure.
spotlight or what?
Absolutely, bro. Like I just don't want to be like ordinary. So why not, take the role of a rock star? I like it. I like being on the lights. I like being the center of attention, and I like beating people up. So it kind of just goes hand in hand. But this whole time, like the whole camp, my dad was telling me we're not really training for Tony. We're training for the platform, the spotlight. Tony's just the opponent right now, and the step like a barrier in the step of getting up there. So it's I it never really bothers me being underneath the lights or whatever. It just kind of comes naturally.
Ain't nothing wrong with that, man. When you love what you do, it kind of shows out. And when you love what you do, you dedicate everything to that. And like you kind of live it and you do. So I usually talk about everybody that comes on the show. I am a believer in God. I'm a Christian, but I always bring it up to you guys. Are you religious? Do you believe in God? What's your faith like?
I believe in God. I grew up in a church. I grew up in AME Church and Episcopal Episcopal
Episcopal,
Episcopal.
Episcopalian.
Yes,
Yeah.
Episcopalian church.
Yeah.
On both sides of my family. So God is definitely within me, and I believe that He's got His own path for me for sure.
So yeah, that's perfect, man. I believe that if some of this you think it's like a coincidence or not, but I don't. I believe that you were put on this earth to do stuff like this. And I don't believe that we're necessarily put here to hurt other people, right? Everybody talks about boxing and me. I'm like, I believe in God. They're like, I'm like, no, it allows me to have a platform to speak out more, but also it's a sport at the end of the day, right? Like
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't I don't want to necessarily kill this guy, but I do want to beat him, right? Like in that
for sure.
ring. But when it's over, I want him to get out of there safe and get home to his family.
No,
But I'm gonna do what I
absolutely.
gotta do inside that ring. But at the end of the day, I do believe everything happens for a reason. And I do believe God has his hands on that. So I'm glad to hear that, it is up there for you for sure. That you do believe in him. However you believe is good. But I just always bring it up, and every boxer that I've had on the show so far, they believe. So I don't know how I'd react if they didn't believe. As a Christian, I should be okay with that, right? But I'm glad you believe, man, because I do believe he's real. I do believe he has his hand on you. I do believe he's guiding you, and this is your path. And that's why when you're out there, sometimes you're just like, I'm supposed to be here. And I think that's
Literally.
God. I think it's God. That's what I'm saying is that, like, when you have that feeling of peace that comes over you, I think that's God, bro. That's just like, hey, you're doing what I put you here for.
Yeah, for sure.
So, again, I want to congratulate you for winning last Saturday night on DAZN pay-per-view on the television portion of the Jake Paul versus Mike Perry fight in front of a sold out crowd. And I was there. It was sold out. Lots of superstars in the arena too. It was really cool. I got
Yeah.
to see them all. I couldn't believe it. Even the Hawk Tua girl was there, which was
Yeah,
insane. Bro, she sat right in front of me. I was like 2 rows
really.
from her. So I got she stayed at my hotel. I was staying at the Westin and I got her at the hotel. I didn't even know she was going to the fight. And then I get to the fights. She's right in front of me. I'm like, what the heck? But it was kind of cool to see the Hawk Tua girl there. She's riding her 15 minutes of fame till the
Wow.
end. Good
Yeah.
for her. But there was a lot of superstars there, man, and you showed out on a big stage. And I want to give you this moment now too, also because I know that you've had a lot of people that got you to this level other than God. But your sponsors, your dad, is there anybody that you kind of want to give a shout out here at the end of this podcast?
I want to give a shout out to everybody who's been supporting me, man. I want to shout out my pops. Shout out to Jim Marksman Boxing Academy. Shout out my promoter on the Speedy Promotions. All my sponsors, the Orlando Real, GCS Recruitment Specialist, Top Smoke, Hard Body Fitness, even Celsius.
My man Hardbody, I saw him there.
Yeah,
I know him a little bit. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. Ty's good people.
yeah.
Um, Shout out to Kraken Law Group. Everybody, man. Just I appreciate y'all. I really wouldn't be here without none of y'all.
I love it, brother.
Shout out to you, Travis, for having me on the show for sure.
No, you don't got to give me that shout out, man. This is a platform to do. I know what you guys are doing is hard. I was amateur 14 years, pro since 2004, 46 pro fights. I know this stuff isn't easy and
Yeah,
it's
man.
not.
You've been around.
So if I can even come close to handing or just kind of paying it forward, even in the slightest bit by putting somebody on the podcast, I love it because I see your dedication and I see your love for the sport, and I have no problem with having you on here. I would have had you on here a lot sooner too.
I
But
know, my
well,
bad, man.
hey, that's why I wasn't, when I saw you in person, I wasn't butthurt, man. Like I get it. There's a lot of stuff going on. So don't worry about that stuff. If we can help, I always want to be there. I'm always going to be like that. What you see with me is what you get. I don't say
For
something
sure.
to your face and say it behind. You'll know me. Everybody that knows me knows that. You get what you see with me. I'm straightforward. Like I told Tony, he's a good dude. I said, I thought you beat him the first fight. I didn't
Yeah,
want to say that, but he asked me. So I had to because I'm
right.
honest,
Yeah.
man.
And I appreciate the honesty for sure. Because a lot of people be fake out here.
Especially nowadays, the social media world, we say something in person, then we go on social media and call it off. And I do have a platform to talk, but I don't do that, man. I keep it real. And I
Right.
think
Yeah.
that ultimately that's going to benefit me in the long run. And I'm going to keep being me. And also, I got to talk about God every chance I get because I wouldn't be here without it, bro. I came from a small town, population 400. I graduated with 15 people in my graduating class. 15, 1-5.
Right.
I lived there for 28 years. I wasn't supposed to do anything and I became a professional boxer. You know, I'm
Right.
doing well. So like I was on the big stages, you know, I fought Crawford, I fought Chavez Jr., I fought Keith Thurman, I fought Vargas. Like I fought a lot of dudes and I wasn't supposed to do any of that. I beat a lot of guys in the amateurs too. I beat Nonito Donaire in the amateurs at nationals. I beat Anthony Durrell at nationals. Like I could fight, obviously, but it is what it
Yeah,
is.
I know.
The boxing world, though, is a business at the end of the day, right? The professional boxing world. And that's the part that got me and fell off. But that's why I'm here now to help other people propel them and do stuff and promote them in ways that I didn't get. And that's why you're on this show. You've also earned it in the ring. But again, I just want to thank you for coming on the show. Congratulations on your victory, bro. 10-0. The world is your oyster right now. Go heal up because you earned this. But
Yeah,
get back to that drawing board because you're 23. All right. Let's
I know.
get it. Now's the time. So get your rest. Don't overdo that. Your body does need to heal. Listen to your body. But God bless you guys, man. Congrats to you, your dad, the whole Marksman Academy. Congrats to your gym, and I wish the best for you guys.
I appreciate you, Travis.
Thanks, brother.
Thank you, bro.